Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pitlane Formula One podcast. I'm your host, Sam DeBrew, joined by the King of the North, Jacob Wilson. Hello, Jakey.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, grand.
Grand. Oh, you're grand.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about something that happened a while ago, but we can finally now talk about it. Imola, where Max Verstappen managed to pick up the win. Lewis Hamilton came in second. Lando Norris picking up a monumentous P3, which I'm so happy about. I say let's start with the battle between Max and Lewis. I mean, what a race from Max, to be fair. Didn't do much wrong.
Yeah, he was really impressive. I think we were robbed a little bit of even more of a battle between them two. When Hamilton went off, but yeah. Max didn't put a foot wrong. I kind of wanted to see more how he'd deal with Hamilton chasing him down, but no complaints really.
It was very much a Lewis Hamilton style race for him, where he got out in front and was never really pushed too much by anyone else. It was very much easy going. He controlled the car really well. But in terms of Lewis Hamilton, where he spun, you could say thanks to George Russell. I don't know. He with the blue flags, he managed to just a great. I personally think it was a great drive. Some people were saying it's lucky with the safety car. From 9th back into 2nd place. He was lucky to even get that P2 from Lando, who was running a really good race. But Lewis Hamilton coming back in 2nd and picking up fastest lap, which keeps him in front in the Drivers' Championship. I think it was a great drive from Lewis as well, considering where he was halfway through the race.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think because you've got to take into consideration, he is in a better car than most. But Bottas spent all of his race down in those positions, and wasn't able to cut through the pack.
Yeah.
So I think that does show. You still got Lewis has still done amazing to be able to cut through all them places to get back into 2nd, which he really needed.
There was in front of him was Leclerc, kind of racing a good race. Lando, Sainz, everyone. He had to pass, and in kind of a short amount of time, coming to the end of it, and he managed to get the job done and clinched, I think, the fastest lap, which was vital. And someone I want to talk about now, I just can't stop smiling when I think about the race he had. Lando Norris, what a drive! Again,
I know.
Again,
and
he means business this year.
Unlucky as well. He was so unlucky not to get 2nd. Like, he kept Lewis behind him for so long. I thought, do you know what? He might just keep him behind him, because on that DRS, he was gaining all the way through the lap, and that DRS then was the only place that Lewis was actually catching to him, and he was defending so well for, was it 3 or 4 laps?
He done so well, yeah. And then even he said it himself over the radio. He just said he's too quick. That car is too quick. I thought it just from the restart as well. I think Leclerc got unlucky because he actually didn't have his team radio working, and most people thought it was going to be like a standard, like kind of standing still start. It was actually just safety car done. We're underway. So I think he kind of got caught off guard, but fair play to Lando for noticing that and just attacking straight away, not wasting any time, getting into 2nd as quick as possible and holding that position for so long. But fair play to Lewis as well, though. He got a really nice overtake done and just pulled away. That was our top 3. Let's talk about then an unlucky pair of Mercedes drivers. Bottas and Russell having a collision, which caused quite a stir, we could say.
It did.
Particularly with George Russell, who kind of said over the radio, is he trying to kill us both? I want to ask what you make of it as well, because I've watched it so many times now, and I think I've come to a conclusion. I think it is a racing incident.
Yeah, well,
I don't think George helped himself.
No, when I first watched it, I was definitely leaning on the side of George, thinking, he wasn't given an awful lot of space. He's run off onto the grass, and then they hit each other. Which I still kind of do lean on that side. It is a bit 50-50. But yeah, he didn't exactly cover himself in glory with how he handled it after, did he? I know. No. I know it's a high pressure situation. You're gonna react, but I think he maybe should have given himself a little time to cool down before he went for an interview.
That's the thing. Both of them have been. I mean, Bottas took quite a shunt as well. You could hear it in his voice. He was breathing very heavily, and he said he couldn't even hear what George Russell said to him. His ears were ringing. And for Russell just to come over, when you saw the pictures of him just coming over, you think, oh, he's just going to say, oh, unlucky, shake hands and be gone with that. And then he comes over with hurls of abuse, and then Bottas giving him the finger. I mean, it doesn't help Russell's case. I know it's heated between them two because this Mercedes seat is one of the most prized possessions in the sport. Russell's going for it. Bottas is trying to defend it. But Russell isn't helping himself with not only that crash, but the antics afterwards.
Well, I found some of Toto Wolff's comments about it quite strange as well, because he said that Russell should have seen that it was a Mercedes in front of him and not gone for it. I think there was room there to go for it. I think it's only that he's touched the grass, hasn't he? And
there's no reason for Russell to not go for it. He is in what would have been that would have taken him to 9th or 8th.
Yeah, that was for P9. Yeah,
he's trying his best to get points in a Williams, which hasn't happened for a while. I think that he has every right to go for it, no matter if it's a Mercedes in front of him or not. He does race for Williams, not kind of Mercedes. He would love to race for Mercedes, I'm sure, and this probably didn't help his case. But he has every right to go for it. And considering his qualifying as well, I mean, qualified 12th. He got that car into Q2. Latifi even got that car into Q2.
Yeah,
miracles do happen. It was everything we said from the other week was I was like, oh, things are actually looking good. And then when it happens, when it matters most, there's a pattern occurring here, and I don't want to start a thing, but Russell tends to mess up when it's, let's say, Williams points on the line, even in the Mercedes, even though that wasn't his fault. Nearly got the race when had a puncher. It was just like, oh, if this man could just, that it was an avoidable crash, but he does have every right to go for it. I think I would put that down as a racing incident, but I don't think George helped. And Bottas was, even though he was moving over, but he's trying to stay in the dry part of the track. But he then moved. I think he does notice Russell coming towards him, and he just moves ever so slightly to the left. But then at that point, Russell gets on the grass, loses it, goes into the side of Bottas. I think it's one of those. I'd say it is 50-50, but Russell did not help himself.
No.
So let's hope for a better race from him next time.
I would say, though, I feel like that crash has probably overshadowed what would have been the Bottas talking point of how bad was he all weekend? Until that point.
Yeah, qualified 8th. Qualified 8th. That is not good for... I mean, he's in a Mercedes. He has no excuses.
I think at the end of the first few laps, he was down into 10th as well.
Yeah. I mean, if Norris can qualify 7th and get it into 3rd, Bottas has no excuse to get that on the podium. But just a bad day out from him, I think. This was supposed to be the year where Bottas wasn't playing by the rules. He's going to do his own thing. And he's just not.
Scrapping Lewis is scrapping Russell.
Williams. Yeah, he's scrapping Williams. Someone I want to talk about next, who, again, someone who didn't really have a good weekend, Sergio Perez. So annoying because we were like, yeah, he is the one to break this curse. He just had a torrid weekend, didn't he?
Well, I mean, it started well for him. He got it into second on qualifying.
Yeah. He even said he could have got that on pole. He had a poor lap, and he was annoyed at P2. Even Max was annoyed with P. They were like, they could have gone quicker, which was a great sign.
Because Lewis didn't improve on his time, did he? And he still ended up on pole. I think that mistake behind the safety car, though, like how. I mean, fair enough, the track's slippy and it's gone off, but how did the team not tell him you can't take them places back?
Even he's experienced.
So much time.
He's been in this sport for a while. He has been in this sport for a while. He should know. Oh, okay, I've got to give them up. He just went straight back in there.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
I think even if you didn't know that they were the rules, it looked dangerous the way that he went for them places back.
Yeah, I don't think they knew that he was coming.
No. I'm assuming that they saw him go off, thought, well, we've got to take this place now, and then he just stormed back through.
So once again, I think for Perez, it was one of those weekends as well where Max getting the win. Okay, brilliant. That's a great haul of points. Perez minimum 5th or 6th. It's a great points haul for the team, but finishing outside of the points. This is why they got him, to get the extra points to keep up with Max. Not necessarily maybe contend with Max, but keep up with him at least.
Yeah, and I suppose in some ways they were kind of lucky there that Bottas was off it as well, because usually the situations that they've had in the past where their second driver hasn't performed, they've had both Mercedes putting pressure on Max. Yeah. Luckily for them, it wasn't the case this week. He really ought to have been doing better than that.
So there's one to forget, I think, for Sergio Perez. I'm going to talk about a great story here. Someone who has been bullied, who no one wants to see, be successful. Nikita Mazepin finished the race. He done it. Story. And I feel it wasn't his fault as well for Latifi. Obviously he had to spin. I don't think it was his fault as well for he collided with Latifi, which caused Latifi to retire. Latifi came on the track, didn't see Mazepin, collides with him, goes off into the wall. Mazepin, nothing wrong with that. But apart from that, that's his fault. Both Hasses. I mean, I think my driver of the day is Mick Schumacher's engineer, because the words of encouragement. Schumacher put it when he was trying to heat up his tyres, put it into the wall by the pit lane exit. Bit flustered, got into his head a bit, and his engineer all the way throughout the race afterwards was telling him how, okay, you're doing great. Keep this pressure on, great pace and stuff like that. It's just what a rookie kind of needs after something like that. You don't want to spin, especially on a safety car. But both Hasses kind of doing nothing wrong. They couldn't do anything. That car doesn't let them do anything.
Yeah. I just felt so sorry for Schumacher though, because he's binned it just after the pit. Sorry, and then he's got to go the whole way round a lap without his front wing. Then by the time he gets around to the pits again, the pit lane's closed because of his crash.
Yeah,
so I got to go around again.
Oh, poor Mick. That's with both Hasses. They couldn't really do much. I mean, I think at this point now, if both cars finish the race, I think it's a good weekend. I think it's got that bad for let's talk about Stroll into the points after a few penalties reshuffled. A few penalties reshuffled the grid, and Stroll in 8th. Not bad. Okay, not bad going. Finishing in the points. That's two weekends in a row now. He's finishing the points. Brilliant. However, that's 2 weekends in a row now and I did say Stroll would finish higher than Vettel. I did say this. You laughed at me. That's another weekend for Vettel, just not having a great time.
Yeah, he's really, really struggled, hasn't he?
He was unlucky in qualifying. He was unlucky in qualifying with the. I just think, even in the race, just didn't really have pace.
But yeah, he just didn't seem at it at all, did he? I mean, it probably didn't help him that he came onto slicks a bit too soon.
Yeah. A weird strategy by the team. It wasn't quite dry enough yet for the slicks, and spinning all over not so much spinning, but just had no grip whatsoever. So with Vettel, I think
there were quite a few odd strategies out there.
Yeah, we'll get on to AlphaTauri, don't you worry.
Yeah.
Just with it, I'm not saying, obviously, if this continues, he'll probably lose his seat, but a conversation may start if he doesn't kind of... Obviously, new car, new team, you're not obviously going to be expected to hit the ground running. But 4 or 5 races in, they're going to start thinking, okay, we need more from you now. And especially someone like, he's not a rookie. It's Sebastian Vettel, 4-time drivers champion. He knows what he should be doing in this car. And I think he knows he's not doing it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the team could potentially get their head turned depending on who becomes available. If someone like maybe Bottas, for example, becomes available at some point, and Vettel really isn't still at the end, towards the back end of the season, still isn't putting performances in. And, they might not really have too much of a choice.
So let's get on to AlphaTauri with their great strategic performance. It was like Yuki Tsunoda had a abysmal qualifying. Crashed the car.
So well, though, weren't
he? Crashed the car, unfortunately. So he was in dead last. But as the race went on, he was doing well. And then he spun at the restart. That just was. I think Tsunoda, if he didn't have that spin, could have gone on to have a good race. Yeah, Gasly though. I mean, put the car. I mean, it's still 7th. You could hear it in his voice though. At the end, he was annoyed with 7th, and I think the team were quite annoyed with 7th. Gasly put the car in 5th in qualifying. Put the car in 5th in qualifying. And he had pace.
Yeah. I can't really blame him too much for being annoyed with that, because I mean, how long were they keeping him on wets for? And just everybody were. I mean, he was holding up so many cars, and they were just picking him off one by one. And they just seemed to stick with it for ages. I mean, at least Ocon, they decided to pull him in early. They went, right, first safety car, let's get him on some inters, because this just isn't working. I know Ocon ended up finishing lower down, but it just seems strange to me that they stuck with it for so long, because it just meant that then some of them places that he was losing, he just weren't going to get back. If not for the second safety car, but
yeah. I think the AlphaTauri is showing pace, and I think there will come a weekend where maybe both cars finish maybe 5th, 6th or 7th. That's a great point haul for that team, and I think they are capable of a good finish. It's just whether or not they get their strategy right. To talk about next, really. I mean, Ferrari showed kind of good improvement. There was a moment where Leclerc nearly led the race with Max spinning, trying to fire some heat back into those tyres. Nearly spun out, and we could have seen Leclerc, going in the lead. Didn't happen for him though. And then obviously with that restart, Lando picked up 2nd, and then Lewis clinched 3rd. They finished in 4th. He was unlucky though with his team radio. He was completely on his own, and with that restart, we could have seen would he have been able to hold off Lando for X amount of laps? Potentially. I mean, Lando was showing phenomenal pace. Leclerc as well, though, was a great race. And someone after Carlos Sainz, good, solid race. Considering where he qualified, I'm trying to remember actually where he qualified. Was it 11th he qualified? It was 11th,
yeah.
Not a good qualifying for... Yeah. for him, but picked it up back in the race and finished fifth. Managed to get past Daniel Ricciardo as well. So it's a good points haul for Ferrari, and that McLaren-Ferrari battle, that seems to be battle for third and fourth.
It looks like a tasty one, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see Leclerc and Sainz scoring some good points, because I think we know just how good both of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see him up there. It's nice to see Ferrari showing some improvements. Because did Sainz have it was a while ago now, where did the race? Did Sainz have a couple of issues? I think early on, did he have a couple of? I don't know. Maybe cut this because I've lost my train.
That's all right, mate. No, I don't think I'm not too sure if he had any issues. I mean, kind of after that restart, didn't seem like he did. He had a great kind of kept his cool, managed to pick up fifth. Couldn't really do anything wrong. I think he was within 2 seconds of Leclerc by the end of the race. Someone I do actually want to talk about, and you might get annoyed at me here, Jakey. I'm so sorry. Daniel Ricciardo, would you say that's a bit of a letdown from him this weekend?
Yeah.
Or would you say sixth is okay? Yeah, that's fine. I think his expected position now, anything lower than sixth, he qualified sixth, finished sixth. I think. Okay, that's fine.
I think if you look at it on paper, I'd say before the weekend, before qualifying, I'd have said sixth would have been fine for him.
Yeah.
But it's just the way he didn't seem to have much pace at all, did he?
The gap between him and Lando was near enough 30 seconds.
Yeah,
that's sinking. Daniel Ricciardo being 30 seconds behind Lando.
When that order came in, that team order over the radio to say let Lando come through, I thought, oh, this could backfire.
The most polite way of asking someone, yeah, you're not fast enough. But fair play to Daniel. Literally understood. He probably knew as well. Lando, clean air, and it worked.
Yeah,
he can have no complaints. To be fair to, I think, Daniel, if he keeps finishing fifth and sixth, they can't really complain because he's doing a solid job. But a driver of his caliber, he could have picked up third today if he was on the ball, if he was at his best. Even, he could have got on a podium. I understand, again, new car, new team. It's going to take time. But in a few races' time, they're going to start wanting maybe a bit more from him.
Yeah, I think it's maybe a little bit too early to get into like that.
I think we're only the second race in.
Yeah, with Vettel, I'd say Vettel's been a lot more disappointing just because he's not been scoring points. At least Danny's been scoring points.
Yeah,
it's just been a bit of a shame because it feels like he can. We know that he can do more than what he's been doing. It's just, hopefully, it's just a case of him getting used to the car, and then in a few races' time,
it took him a while to get set up at Renault. It did take him a while to kind of get used to that Renault car, and if we look at his Renault legacy, as he's left 2 podiums, he gave them their first podium in however many years. So, and he picked up 2 podiums. So I think, give him the time. I think for me, he's the third, maybe fourth best driver on the grid. On his day as well, he can be the best. Like, he can be so good. From this weekend, solid performance, but just a bit. I mean, the position maybe flatters him. Sixth, great, but when you look at the times, 30 seconds behind his teammate, that's probably something they'll bring up to him. I think give him a few races, he'll be back to his best. And I mean, the last people to talk about really are Alpine and Alfa Romeo. I mean, Alpine, after the penalties to Raikkonen. They finished 9th, Ocon 9th, Alonso 10th. I literally can't really say anything about them. I mean, well done. 3 points for the team.
Yeah, I think considering that Ocon started on what turned out to be the wrong tyres, I think 9th's decent running for him.
Yeah.
Although they didn't really show too much of either of the Alpines. It just seemed as though
they were just
sort of got on with it
in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't really have too much to say about either of them. Like,
I can't. Points finishes for both drivers. I don't think they can complain. Trying to think of Raikkonen and Giovinazzi. It could have been a points finish for Kimi Raikkonen, but picked up a penalty after the race. I can't really say anything about Alpha as well.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't really say anything about Alfa Romeo.
I was kind of surprised with their qualifying, just given what we got from them in the first week. You know, with them finishing 11th, 12th, and then they didn't even get out of Q1 this week. No. So yeah, that surprised me. And then Kimi seemed to have a decent race. I can't remember where he ended up putting it in the end, but then got hit with a penalty. So
I think he finished 9th.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Pretty certain he was 9th, and then got hit with a penalty, which took him back to 13th. I want to say, where did he finish? 13th, and Giovinazzi 14th. Again, Giovinazzi didn't really. There was at one point, I think he was 11th or 10th, and I was thinking, okay, here we go. But no, again, just kind of mid-table, not really doing much. So I guess I get another driver who needs to not so much wake up, because Bahrain, I think they both had a good weekend, but this one is just, any kind of more drives like that, he's not going to keep his seat, is he? But it's too early to make those predictions.
Yeah.
So I think that's covered it. I'm going to ask actually for your. I know it probably will be everyone's favourite, but who would your driver of the day be?
For me, it had to be Norris. I think Max is a good shout for it, but I think it would have been quite easy given his disappointment in qualifying. If he thought that he'd got a P3, then his lap time got deleted. He had to bring it from 7th to get up to 3rd. And he just drove a brilliant race. So.
I mean, for my driver of the day is Nikita Mazepin. So there we go. I'm joking. Two votes for Lando. I can't. You have to give it to him. You just have to. He's such a great race from him. So I feel like a proud dad when I look in. So that is everything from Imola. And where are we now? We are at Portimao next week, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
We are at Portimao. I'm not going to ask for a prediction, or I will actually. We both got Imola wrong.
We were I was way off.
Bottas nearly. Hamilton. Hamilton picking up P2. So for this week, so do you go Max or Lewis now, or do you kind of try and be a bit adventurous and get a pick in there that's a bit different? I don't know. I'm just going to play it safe. I'm going to go Max.
Ooh.
I'm going to go with Max.
In that case, then I think I'll go Lewis. I kind of want to go for something a bit spicier. I just want to get I want to get one on the board.
My heart's telling me Lando. My heart is telling me Lando, but my brain's telling me Max. I'm going to stick with Max. And if we run through the driver, I mean, Hamilton leading the Drivers' Championship on 44 points. Verstappen in second with 43. Lando in third with 27. Leclerc in fourth with 20. I mean, at one point, this is going to go to the wire. I think it actually will. And even the Mercedes are only leading the constructors by 7 points. They're on 60. Red Bull on 53. I mean, McLaren 41. I mean, there we go. It's not over there yet. If McLaren can pull a few, I'm clutching at straws here to see if we could get fights out of anything. But that will do it from Imola. But yeah, our predicted race winners. Mine will be Max, and you're going to go with Lewis, aren't you, Jacob?
Yeah, playing it safe this week.
Okay, that is safe. Watch Bottas win.
If he does,
watch Bottas win.
If he does, I think I'll walk over to him like George Russell did and give him a slap on helmet and all.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. All right. Thanks to everyone for listening. That will do it from us. This has been the Pit Lane Formula One podcast, and we will see you after Portimao. Goodbye.